Michigan comes off their second back-to-back Big Ten East championship and beats Ohio State for their second consecutive year.
Yeah, so this was the first time Michigan beat Ohio State in Columbus since 2000, and their first 12-0 season since 1997. Let's jump into stats now.
J.J. McCarthy completed 50% of his passing attempts, threw for 263 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions.
Yeah, Donovan Edwards had 22 carries, 216 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
And over 200 of those were in the second half. J.J. McCarthy actually had 6 carries for 27 yards and a touchdown, and unfortunately Blake Corum only had 2 carries for 6 yards.
Yeah, and jumping into receiving, Cornelius Johnson, probably the best wide receiver today, definitely the best wide receiver, had 4 receptions, 160 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Which in an average of 40 yards per reception.
Yeah. Ronnie Bell had 3 receptions, 46 yards, and average like 15.
Yeah, like he's not like our downfield threat, but he's good at like the small, like crossing routes.
Yeah, he's
and
really
can get
good.
open and like
Exactly.
short field.
Yeah, exactly. Colston Loveland had that 1 45-yard touchdown. So, and not many other receiving targets today besides those 3.
Schoonmaker had a 15-yard catch, but I think he's still recovering from injury a little bit also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Edwards had like 2 receptions for 9 yards, and then Henning 3 yards, and Wilson only had 1 reception for no yards.
What I like about Edwards is he's easy to like bring into the flat. Like if you're gonna fake a run, you can find it downfield like they did in that Iowa game in the back of the end zone.
Exactly. So let's jump into defense here. Will Johnson had 7 tackles. Mike Sanderstill, what a game he had.
The 6 tackles, but that 4-point play in the end zone to break up that pass.
Yeah.
I love it when your defense can give you a few points or whatever, you know.
Yeah, that was a great play. Probably the best Michigan defensive play all year. Yeah, Michael Barrett, 5 tackles.
But he assisted on 6 of them.
Yeah,
So.
he was flying around to that ball all over field. Rod Moore had 3 tackles, 2 assisted, and Rod Moore had a pretty good game, I think. Some pass breakups. I really like his game.
It seemed like Junior Colson had more than just 2 tackles. It seems like
yeah, he had 5 assisted tackles. Yeah, Makari Page with 2 tackles and an interception. Same with Chris Jenkins. He also had Taylor Upshaw. No tackles, 1 assisted, but an interception. So
yes. That was he wasn't really expecting that, just kind of fell right into his hands, like, you know.
Jake Moody went 1 for 2 on field goals. He had a 49-yard field goal that he made, and I think he missed.
It was pretty far, like maybe like it was over 50 for sure.
I think it was like 59, 55, 59.
Somewhere in that range.
Yeah, long field goal.
Yeah, I think he's definitely
Brad
NFL.
Yeah, I think Brad Robin had 5 punts, if I'm not wrong.
5, yeah, around.
I think 5 punts, 203 yards, and like an average of 40.6. So not a bad day for the specialists. Pretty good.
And you don't want to see a lot of Brad Robbins because that means unless you're doing kickoffs, but you don't want to see him like punting.
The extra, he's a holder on extra points, but you don't want to see him on extra field goals because we want to score touchdowns. But you want to see him out there. And
it's always good to know that you can kick a field goal once you get like inside like the 30, like that you're comfortable that your kicker's gonna make that for you, which is good.
Yeah. So let's talk about some other games that happened during the week.
Big. Well, obviously there were some upsets with USC handled business, but Texas A&M looked like the team they were hyped up to be. Remember, #1 recruiting class with all those 5 stars, taken down at the time #5 LSU.
Yep. And Tennessee beating Vanderbilt 56-0.
How about TCU taking care of business, just taking over the game against Iowa State? They had 2 pick-sixes in that game and played like a team that really wanted to beat them.
Yeah, Utah beat Colorado. Penn State with a huge win over Michigan State against rival.
Now, Michigan State not even going bowl eligibility, which is crazy. How about Oregon State coming back from like down, I think about 31 to just rally back, and then that made it come down to the Washington versus Washington State. I know the bowl game has a name, I just can't think of it right now. But if Washington won, that
the Apple Bowl, I think.
Yeah, Apple Bowl. Then Utah would have played USC, and if Washington State won, then Oregon would. But Washington took care of business there, 51-33, which means it's set for USC Notre Dame.
Yep, and also Alabama beating Auburn 49-27.
Yes.
Yep. So there's a lot of the games that are happening.
South Carolina beating Clemson absolutely annihilating Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So-
South Carolina is looking pretty
But
good.
the weird
like
thing
a
is,
solid
like, if you
team.
look at the games that they've played,
Mhm.
like, they beat some good teams, like,
Yeah.
obviously in the last few weeks, but it just hurts them that they've lost, or they lost to Georgia, which,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's not like
yeah,
that
but
loss.
they beat Kentucky,
I mean,
and
loss.
Kentucky was ranked for a little bit.
Mhm.
They beat Texas A&M, but they lost to Missouri 23-10. But if you remember, Missouri almost beat Georgia that 1 week. Like it was 6
Yeah.
points in the fourth quarter. Florida beat them 38-6.
Or Florida beat
Yeah.
South Carolina. But yeah, that's some of the games that happened this week. And let's jump into the championship games that are going to be, happening soon. So obviously, we got Michigan playing Purdue in the Big Ten championship now.
An 8 o'clock game, but let's go to the Friday games first and kind of go in order of how they're going to play.
Yeah.
So we got UTSA playing North Texas at.
Sorry, we cannot remember the conference they're in.
Yeah.
I think it's conference. Is it Conference USA?
It's like
Conference USA.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Something like that.
We're talking about like the bigger conference championship games.
Yeah, it's
like instead of like.
Obviously, yeah, it's not like a. We got Utah playing USC. Which
That's a good one. Honestly, the hard part about that is what happens if Utah wins. Do you put Ohio State in?
Yeah, I think Ohio State would go in if they lose.
But I feel like whoever's going in is losing to Georgia. I feel like Georgia's a national championship team.
I agree. Yeah. And we got Kansas State and TCU.
That's a revenge. So both revenge games are USC already lost to Utah by 1 point, and TCU I'm pretty sure beat Kansas State.
Yeah. So look out for the Pac-12 championship. It's going to probably be a very good game to watch.
Yeah, I agree.
Big 12 championship will be pretty good, and Big 10 championship's going to be pretty good. And yeah,
we got Tulane playing UCF. I mean, I wonder if Tulane wins, who put them in a big Year 6 bowl.
New Year's Six?
New Year's 6, yeah.
Yeah. LSU and Georgia playing the SEC championship
I feel like
game.
after losing to A&M, that game has lost a little bit of hype. But then you got Clemson, UNC also lost a little bit of hype. With
Yeah, the
Clemson.
ACC championship game.
Yeah, and then Michigan, Purdue. So
Big
we've
10.
got all those teams. I hope TCU, Michigan, and Georgia win because if TCU wins, TCU loses, they're still in. But USC, if they beat Utah, would jump them. And I'd honestly rather have Michigan play TCU than I would have them USC. And even Michigan losing, even if they're guaranteed, and they're playing Georgia for sure.
Yeah. So what's like next for Michigan? So Michigan, I'm not sure the betting odds have they come out yet. I'm not sure, but
they're probably-
oh yeah, I think the betting odds are coming out. Let me pull it up for a second.
And I think Michigan, I saw that they have a 97% chance of making it in even with a loss.
So favored by 16.5.
So they're basically saying you're betting on if they're going to win by 2 touchdowns and if they're a little more.
Yeah.
So, obviously, you remember what happened last year playing Iowa like 42-3. Just because the bowl teams like the 1, 2, 3, 4 in the bowls, they just play different because they know what they're playing for.
Yeah.
Like Purdue's playing for a Big Ten championship, Michigan's playing for a Big Ten championship, and then they got the potential to play for a national championship.
Yeah, Purdue's got nothing to lose in that game. They just want to go flying
they're
out
just there. Like nobody's expecting anything. Michigan, they're like, we gotta win this, and then we can. Keep
they're
going.
looking to probably play spoiler in that game for Michigan.
Yeah.
And yeah, so and we got some other, obviously games to watch. So yeah, Georgia LSU, which I think is probably, if you'd say like the best tie between Georgia LSU and
I'd say
Pac-12.
USC.
Yeah,
I'd say the USC game.
I could say-
I like that one more
That one has
because
more-
USC's not locked in.
That's true, and that has a little more meaning in the
USC's a one-loss team, and it's a revenge game for USC.
we lost
They lost to Utah. So obviously Utah made the Rose Bowl last year playing Ohio State in that game.
in that game. Yeah, fun game to watch.
Yeah. Well, I feel like how about Penn State ranked 8 right now? They've got destroyed twice, and that's what's like when they expand the playoffs. The bye, I feel like, is going to be way more crucial than people were overlooking. Like, I feel like the bye is going to be
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like the bye is going to be crucial and something to look for, even though people are saying a lot of value is going to be lost from the Michigan-Ohio State game. I feel like it's always going to be the game and the game to watch.
So, obviously, great game in...
Look forward to see what's next.
Yep, and great game in Columbus. Michigan took care of business and handled what they needed to, and...
Let's just hope they can do the same against Purdue.
Exactly. All right.
Thank you for listening.